And leading the formation is Kenneth Arkvisler, whom we saw flying the MiG-15 earlier on today. That would have been flown by the Norwegian Air Force's potential opponents, the Russian Air Force and those of the Warsaw Pact, while the Norwegian Air Force would be flying Vampires. And we have two examples of the type here. The two-seat trainer, T-55, and the single-seat FB-52, FB standing for fighter bomber. Flying very close formation. Now, one of the things to contrast, just to show how jet aircraft technology has changed since the introduction of the Vampire, is just see how much sky the Vampires take up. Not when they're looping, because if they've got the clearance to over 5,000 feet, they're going to use it. But when they're doing turns over the sea, they really do eat up a lot of space. And contrast that with the Typhoon, which we'll be seeing next, which stays right in front of us all the time. Now you can see on that pass there the slightly smaller size of the number 2 aircraft, which is the single-seat fighter bomber, in contrast with the larger two-seat trainer, which Kenneth is flying to lead the formation. At the time, the idea of the student and instructor was to sit them side by side. That continued with the basic trainer of the RAF that followed on, which was the Jet Provost, but changed with the Jet Provost replacement, the Tucano and also the Hawk trainer, where the instructor sits behind the student in what's known as a tandem seating arrangement. Now you can see just how much space is being taken up by that very big turn that the formation pair are demonstrating. You're gonna catch a cold from the ice inside your soul, so don't come back for me. Now that same twin boom design that we saw on the OV-10 Bronco, and the distinctive whistling sound there of the Rolls-Royce Goblin engines, which combined gave the Vampire the nickname in the Air Force of the Whistling Wheelbarrow. Whistling because of the noise, and wheelbarrow because of that twin boom tail design. Kenneth himself is a hugely experienced pilot with more than 15,000 flying hours. He was in the Norwegian Air Force himself, then became a civilian aviation airline pilot before retiring from that, and now all he gets to fly is classic Cold War jets. I can think of worse ways to spend your summer days. Now in from the right, in a line astern formation, number 2 slotted in behind Kenneth and below him. The Vampire was the second jet fighter to enter service with the RAF following the Gloucester Meteor. Although it arrived too late to see combat in the Second World War, it served with frontline RAF squadrons until 1953, when it was replaced by the Hawker Hunter, and it then continued, but it still continued in RAF service as a trainer until 1966. There are quite a number of them in civilian ownership now, because one of the last surviving air forces to use them, the Swiss Air Force, sold off their contingent during the 1980s. And it was acquired by many private pilots because it was a small, light aircraft, relatively easy to maintain, operate and fly. For a jet, that is. So they're over Clacton Pier now, coming in towards us. Still in very close formation. It's a brilliant display of close formation flying.